What's up, everybody? We are back at Around the Mat Pod. I am your host, PJ North. It is another week of wrestling, and if you're watching live on Twitch, it's a few days early. Thank you for joining us. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It's super easy. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, give us a 5-star review or a 1-star review. Whatever you like, let us know. Hit the comment button. Share with your friends if you love professional wrestling. Even if you don't and you just like me, hey, man, I appreciate that as well. It has been a busy week of professional wrestling. We got a lot of stuff coming up, as everybody knows. We got Forbidden Door in 2 weeks, but this week we have Clash at the Castle. Last week we had NXT Battleground, so a lot to cover this week, and I'm excited to get into it. And I've brought some new people along, including in the bottom left. He is known as Tank, or BigTankk, with an extra K on it, the Twitch god. He is the AEW fanboy. He is the friend of the pod, Michael Tancredi. Tank, what's going on, baby?
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for chopping it up this week, taking some time out of your schedule. I know you're busy. In the bottom right, though, he is returning, as always, the ticket god. He is Freddie Briscoe. Freddie Fresh. Fred, what's going on, baby?
What's up, man? Glad to be back. Couldn't make it last week, but glad to be back.
You're looking like a tan god. I know you was on the beach this weekend.
I sure was. Belmar, little DJ's action.
Hell yeah.
Oldest man there, but that's all right. We had a time.
Thunder action.
I love that. Yeah, man. So a lot of things happening in wrestling this week, obviously. Just a lot of crazy stuff. And today is a Tuesday, so we're recording as NXT is happening. We're going to watch Who Killed WCW. All of that stuff we'll talk about next week. But this week we're going to go around the mat and do all the fun stuff that we always do. And we're going to kick it off first with headlines. This week, give me 1 second. I'm always forgetting things, you know. It's one of those deals. But headlines. That's what we're going to start with. And the first headline is Ricochet really gone. Everybody saw last night on Raw where Braun Breaker tried to murder him. Some say on purpose. I would say on accident. The lawn dart into the trailer was pretty wild. But honestly, the power slam on the car was like pretty unbelievable to me. I was like taken aback by the whole thing. I thought that was really, really crazy. We're all big on Braun Breaker. I wish he would change his name. I do think Breaker's dumb, especially when he is a Steiner and they have such a prominence. But I guess the thing is, everyone's like, oh, he wants to become his own man. But I'm like, he's wearing singlets, barking like his dad. So, like, does he really want to become his own man? All that to say, I thought it was a cool segment. I don't think Ricochet is really gone. That's my opinion. I think it's hard-pressed to leave when you're still a focal point of the Fed, right? It's not like he got released. And maybe he wants to win a world title and he wants to go other places. But in my opinion, be tough to do that. So, I don't think he's gone, but I guess we shall see. Tank, you're the newbie, man. What are your thoughts? Is Ricochet really gone?
I think he's really gone. You know, in WWE, there's only as much as you can do. And, I mean, we all saw his one shot at glory when he fought Brock Lesnar and he got squashed.
I thought you were going to say when he got engaged to...
Well, no, that's already a win. That's a win in itself.
Yeah, he's got that W, man.
Yeah, that's a win. I mean, you list off his achievements, that's one of them.
For sure, 1,000%. But he has won a lot. I mean, he's won a world title, or I'm sorry, an Intercontinental title, right?
He definitely, he's, I believe, one-time IC, one-time US.
So, like, he's done a lot.
Isn't that who Gunther beat him?
Yeah,
Gunther that's right. Gunther did beat him, yep. Okay.
You know, I just think that maybe he's just not happy with his direction. I know it's like he's a trusted guy. They believe in him. You can put him in any area you want to, and he'll probably knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about his promos, right? Everybody's like, he's a little soft on the promo, and I think that comes with, like, he probably hasn't been given a directive on that because they put him in spots where it's like, hey, we need you to go out there and do a 630.
Yeah, right? So it's like, you know, I just think he would fit great in AEW, but I also think, you know, there's a New Japan. Maybe he wants to get into that.
Yeah, he already did. I mean, he's done New Japan, right? The Battle of Super Juniors before. Mm-hmm. He did the Dragon Gate thing. He's done a ton of stuff. So I do think he could go the Mustafa Ali way, right? And do a bunch of cool stuff. Freddie, what about you, man? Last 30 seconds on this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do think he is done, at least for now. I think he's been there 6 years. And I think he just kind of felt like the ceiling had been reached, and he wasn't going to get any further, up the card. Some guys are okay with that, some guys aren't. So
Sure.
it is interesting with his wife being, the ring announcer for Monday Night Raw. That she's going to stay and he's going to leave, but business is business. So
sure.
Do I think he'll be back down the road? I'm sure he is a better fit in a company like AEW, where all that matters is work rate and not your personality.
Sure.
So I think maybe AEW or, like Tank said, New Japan is a good move for him.
Well, I guess we will find out. That's one headline. Next headline: Brooks Jensen has now become the Loose Canon gimmick. I saw someone commented that, and I thought that was pretty replicative. It's funny. They said someone was like, "Damn, they didn't even give it to Brian Pillman's son. They gave it to somebody else." Then I just saw a tweet online before we joined that Brooks Jensen was ejected from the line outside of NXT, and I'm sure there was a camera floating around as well around that. There's been a lot of like. POV style stuff on Twitter where it's like he's arguing with announcers and referees and things like that. I think they're doing something really cool. It's going to be unique. I don't know that he has that much personality to pull it off, but it definitely caught me off guard. I don't know him personally. I'm just saying, like, from his character on TV. I don't know if he has enough character to pull it off, but he definitely it comes across like it's kind of fun. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. What say you, Freddie Fresh? What's your thoughts on Brooks Jensen?
I mean, I think it's something for him to sink his teeth into. I mean, because once the split happened between him and Briggs,
Thank God it happened.
He really wasn't, not that Briggs has been, making magic down in NXT, but he certainly has had more opportunities than Brooks has.
Yeah, I think Briggs is very similar to Baron Corbin. That's what Briggs reminds me of, Baron Corbin-esque.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. And they've been airing some Briggs vignettes the last couple of weeks, so it looks like they're repackaging him somewhat.
Yeah,
not necessarily a different character, but to give him some
a little background, a little character build, all the whole thing since they broke.
Which I think is always good. But I think this is good for Brooks. Now, whether it's going to mount to anything or not, who knows? But it's a step in the right direction. I enjoy it.
I did too. I think it's a cool thing. Like I said, it caught us. We were all talking like, "Damn, is this a work?" Because at first he did it, and it was like completely out of the blue. Right, the tweets and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool."
Because at first, I didn't even know he had gotten released. But
he hasn't. He hasn't actually. Right? Yeah, the whole thing.
Right. So it was a whole thing. But
they really should have put out a graphic that they wish him, future endeavors to really get us over. That would have really been funny. Been good. What about you, Tank? What's your thoughts on the Brooks Jensen move?
I kind of like it because this is a situation where this guy, he doesn't have much personality. But you give him a situation like this, I feel like he could really knock it out of the park.
Yeah. That's kind of what my thought is like maybe this will give him some added personality, can bring out maybe something that he's been working on or that I think that's the hardest thing for, we always say like, oh, this guy lacks charisma or this. It's like maybe they just haven't found their thing that brings it out too, right? Not everybody's going to come out and be able to talk on the microphone like certain folks, and we'll see what happens. I'm interested to find out, though. I think it's a cool long story arc that they've done with him too, as far as like them breaking up and then him getting, kind of a tumble from grace or whatever.
Wasn't he? Didn't they give him like an actual song for a ring song?
Yeah, it was pretty bad though, right? Like it just not really that good.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I think they all have their own thing. I think all three, that could be one of those factions that we talk about a long time, in the future where they're all doing something different. Because Fallon Henry, really turning it on too. And I'm interested to see what Briggs does. I didn't really dig the whole tag team thing just because I was like, all right, this is it was still NXT 2.0 and that had like a sour taste. So we'll see what happens. All right, last headline came out today. Sexyy Red got arrested. NXT Flameout. I guess she's NXT. She's kind of a star, depending on who you ask in our group chat. But Sexyy Red gets arrested. It's wrestling related. So I saw a lot of funny tweets about it today. That finally a real wrestler. She's really owning the gimmick. All of these things, like a wrestler to get arrested for starting a fight. So I thought that was kind of funny. Again, I don't get it. I don't even know why she was there, other than she sang HBK's song in an Uber or something, and it was like a whole viral video. I don't get it at all.
Did we see the video of HBK twerking?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Sexyy Red. I'll give it this.
Like as far as
content goes, they got a lot of content with her being there. Still the most ridiculous guest host I've ever seen. But what do I know? Tank, what are your thoughts on the Sexyy Red getting arrested, or just Sexyy Red in general?
Listen, I mean, it's gonna pop a rating. You're gonna hit a certain niche crowd that like
the
Sexyy
thing is,
Red.
I'm sure that the news is probably like posting she was on her way to NXT wrestling event for WWE, right? Because that's probably what it's gonna say, right?
So like, I'm all for you want to make as many connections to people as you can. So like,
no press is bad press, right?
So like, yeah, you know what I mean. So I mean, I thought it was. Did it make me want to watch? Yeah, I was like, what is she gonna do?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cool. There's not many people that like openly will say like, hey, I'm a wrestling fan. Like,
sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, it's so not like the cool thing to say sometimes.
In that market, it's like, you kind of see people that go there. They're like, oh, it's a paycheck, or it's cool to see that like she's like into it, like she gets it.
Yeah, it's very West Side Gunner, right? Because he's like super into it.
Yeah,
does the whole thing. That's my as a person in the music industry, I genuinely despise her. I genuinely despise her ability to get streams. I think it's terrible. I think that whole genre of music is hot garbage. It's not even really hip hop, and I grew up making hip hop and loving hip hop, and that's not really hip. But all that to be said, it does draw eyes to the product, like you said, Tank. Fred, what's your favorite Sexyy Red song?
What's the popular one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know either because I know
it's
the shits.
It is catchy. Listen, I'm not going to pretend like I'm the biggest Sexyy Red fan, but I'm familiar with her music. Can't tell you the name of the song. Ski,
yeah, there you go.
But
I'm gonna give you 2 points just for doing that on air.
It is catchy, That song she just came out with Drake, though, man, she sounds like the shits in that. I don't know if she's intentionally trying to sound terrible, but she sounds terrible.
I think Drake's engineer was probably like, I tried, Drake. This is still the shits, dude. And the master, the master was probably like, we did what we could. This is what you got. I don't know.
Well, I'm all, me, I'm all about pop culture, and it being involved. And I am a big fan of the hip hop industry. Not saying that she's,
No, I get it.
One of the best of all time on the mic. I'm not saying that by any means, but she is a relevant, personality in that industry.
Somehow we let it happen. Yeah.
And just like AEW, talent really isn't needed. So
this fucking guy.
I had to throw that in there, but no, I mean it was cool. It was cool for what it was.
Sure.
I like the stuff she did with Trick.
Yeah, I get that.
Getting to see Shawn Michaels twerk is not something I had.
That was not on my bingo card.
24 bingo card, but here we are. So our break kids still got it.
Good shit. All right. Well, those are the headlines for the last 5 days.
Before we get into the next thing.
Yeah.
Just want to give a shout out. And 18 years ago today was One Night Stand 2006.
I know. I saw that, man.
I was there.
That was a great pay-per-view.
I tell this story all the time that we were in line and there was a woman with a John Cena hoodie on and this guy like eviscerated her and I was like, holy shit, like this is serious. Like, and I was like, if Cena wins tonight, I told my buddy that I was with Adam, I said, we got to get the fuck out of here because there's going to be a complete brawl in this building.
Which is crazy to think about, man, the fandom that ECW fans had, and especially when it was like percolating for years, because that was still like, 7 years after, or not 7 years, but 5 years after it's gone as a brand, and people are just like, for lack of a better word, clamoring for it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing, how that, like the success of the first one, right?
Yep.
The year before. And then this was the launch of the brand, which maybe it should have just started.
Isn't that crazy to think they had so much success with the pay-per-view, and then that's how they launched the brand?
Right.
What a fucking nightmare that was. Terrible.
Yeah.
Tank, did you watch? Obviously, I mean, you probably weren't watching live, but did you watch? You've rewatched it, right?
I actually did watch live. Okay. That was around the time I started watching like really hard. Dude, I always remember that spot with Sabu and Rey Mysterio.
That's a nasty spot.
That card was great.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was top to bottom. It was really, really cool.
It reminds me of like
Kurt Angle and Orton.
That was a great match too. my whole thing is when you do the brand justice, like I think like the first Forbidden Door, if you go back and watch it, it had a feeling to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just it just felt like a super show. That's what that felt like. It felt like a super show.
Yeah, because they were really bringing back people and doing the whole thing. I mean, that was such a crazy time to be a wrestling fan too. There too, because at that point WWE had 5 shows on TV at that time. WWE, ECW, Raw, SmackDown, ECW, Velocity or whatever the Saturday show was still, and they had they had a lot of stuff going on. Main event, they were doing double pay-per-views every. I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff going on. Crazy time. 18 years. Well, with that being said, NXT Battleground was Sunday. I thought it was really, really good, but Tank's our newest guest, so I'm going to let him kick off NXT Battleground. What was your favorite match, and what do you rate the card?
So, I'm going to be honest. My favorite match was the triple threat. I think Obafemi's been killing it. I think he's great. You can put him out there. Like you saw at the last TakeOver, we were all there. The big man match, it was great. Yeah. You put him in there with Wesley and Joe Coffey, and they just knock it out. It's just like, that guy is just all around great.
I really like Obafemi a lot.
He's fantastic. Yeah. That was great. The women's ladder match, I thought, the setup of the arena was a little weird, and I thought because of the ladder match.
Well, that's where they do the whole. That's where they do the fighter thing, right? The Ultimate Fighter show. Okay.
Yeah. So I thought it was good. I'm always a fan of let the wrestlers wrestle, give them room.
Yeah, it was narrowed for a lot.
Yeah, it's a little it's a little claustrophobic. I felt like
Booker T got taken out in the first 5 minutes of the match. He got hit.
Give them, you got to give them room to make magic happen,
right?
And
sure,
without doing that. I mean, I thought if something goes wrong, it's going to go terribly wrong.
Yeah, that's fair.
Luckily, it didn't. It was a great show.
Yeah, there could have been that great Joey Mercury spot or something where something.
Oh yeah, that was
catastrophe happened, especially with inexperience. Because I don't think any of those women had been in a ladder match, right?
Yeah,
so you have that little bit of inexperience that someone could have got hurt just due to the limitation and the logistics of the whole thing. What do you rate the show overall, letter wise?
I mean, NXT is always great. They always do. Even a bad show isn't terrible. It's just I'd probably give it a B.
Okay. Harsh grader, man. He's that guy. He's that teacher you don't want in class, Fred. He's that guy. It's you did pretty good. I'll give you a C. Freddie, you watched it as well. What was your thoughts on it? What favorite match and grade?
I enjoyed it. Like Tank said, I think every NXT pay-per-view. I don't think there's been a bad one. Maybe some are better than others, but I don't think there's been a bad NXT pay-per-view. But my favorite match, I would say, would be between the women's ladder match and the triple threat. I mean, I did enjoy the main event as well with Trick and Ethan Page. I did enjoy that. I'm going to go with the women's ladder match. I thought, especially for them, none of them being in a ladder match ever.
Right.
And also, not only not being in a ladder match, these women still are not that experienced, most of the ones that are in it.
1,000%.
Besides Michin,
right.
Really, so I thought they did a really good job. The atmosphere, so it was cool because it was different.
Sure.
But I didn't love it only because we get a small environment for NXT every week.
Sure. And so we like it to be in a bigger place.
So when they started last year, I think it was Vengeance Day last year in Charlotte, with the exception of Stand and Deliver in Dallas, was the first time since COVID that NXT had been in a regular building for pay-per-view.
Sure.
Right? Before the after the takeover and all that stuff. And that's one thing that I've liked about the pay-per-views with NXT is that it's the one time that you're going to see them outside of the Performance Center.
Sure.
And even though this wasn't the Performance Center, it still kind of had that same feel almost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To a point. So I wouldn't like them to make a habit out of it. I mean, they are going to Toronto, and they're doing the Scotiabank Arena, which is where Money in the Bank is going to be.
Sure. Yeah, they're doing a 2-day package that weekend, right?
It's a big venue. That's, I always call it the
Air Canada Arena, right?
Air Canada Center. Yeah. So they'll be back in a regular arena for that, and then hopefully, this was supposed to be in Savannah, Georgia, where Raw was last week. It was supposed to be the Sunday before.
Oh, okay.
They moved it, whatever. But anyway, yeah, no, I did enjoy the show. I'll give it a B plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, quick thing.
Shoot it, Tank.
Shout out to Michin. I don't know if you guys peeped, but she, when Sol Ruka did the RKO Soul Snatcher,
mm-hmm.
she was holding onto the ladder. If you didn't see it,
I saw that she was holding onto the ladder in multiple spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Michin.
What a team player.
Yeah, that's exactly
the professional
right.
like that. That's the one,
Yeah, you got to have women out there like that, too, to help steer women or men, right? Even if this was a men's NXT, you got to have people out there that haven't done that before.
I think moving her back down to NXT for a little while is a good call. I think it's good when they do that. It gives the guys in NXT, the guys and girls in NXT, an opportunity to work with somebody that has experience, which is what you need, before they get to the roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, for me, all good points. For me, I liked it a lot. I'll be honest with you, though. I hated almost every finish. I loved all the matches. I thought all the matches were really good, but I hated all the finish. I didn't think Kalani Jordan should have won. I think they should have put it on Lash or Fallon, who had the most going into it. I felt like they really had the best story, or even Soul. I thought like obviously her finisher super over, and all that stuff too. So I didn't love that finish. I didn't love. I told y'all I thought that having Ego lose straight up clean is. What's the point in putting him on top if you're going to have him lose clean first? That's some Hulk Hogan, Papa Shango booking bullshit right there. Like that's not. I just didn't get that. I was like, what? This guy's back to the same place he started. He comes in with a big pop and then he goes right back down. Like that didn't make any sense to me. But I thought they should have had Metaphor come out and cost him the match or something.
That would have made more sense.
Yeah, just in my opinion. So I hated that finish as well. I did love the Obafemi match. I thought that was good. I think my favorite match was also, like I said, the women's ladder match. I thought there's just a lot of cool spots. Some spots where I was like, holy hell, that looked like that hurt like a mother. And I just think they're working their ass off, man. All the females in there were just hustling and doing the whole thing. I thought the tag match was fine. I thought it was really good. I don't get Nathan Frazier and Axiom as a tag team. Also, I love tag teams where they have matching gear and do the whole thing.
Did you see the video of them walking the strip after the show?
No, I haven't seen
that.
Dude,
you got to see that. It was hilarious.
Is it? Oh, it's like a YouTube clip or like a short or something?
No, they were like posting stories. And I honestly think Nathan Frazier was drunk. Like he looked pissed drunk.
Well, him and Axiom were both Brit guys, right? They were both in NXT UK, so I get some of it. I don't know. Either way. Overarching, I thought it was positive. All right, that's a good one. Well, we've got the next one here. Clash at the Castle, and I've got to pull up the match listing because Miguel's a bad friend and hasn't sent out the pool yet, so I don't actually remember all of the Clash at the Castle, all the matches. 2024. Let's see what we got here. All right, card and update. So we're going to go through. We're going to do a pick'em live, and then we'll go from there. So first matchup is obviously, we'll save that one for last. What am I talking about? Go to the last one here. Oh, triple threat women's tag match. We'll start there. Triple threat women's tag, Bianca and Jade versus Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. Freddie, who you picking?
I mean, it's got to be Bianca and Jade.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think there's any. I'm really enjoying. I like Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I really do like them as a tag team. I'm glad they're finally.
Yeah, they've buried her. They've buried them though every week.
Well,
fair enough.
But because they weren't doing anything with them for a while.
So who do you think's going to win though?
Jade.
Oh, you think they're going to keep the titles? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Tank. What about you?
I'm just saying. I'm a fan of Isla.
I would go Jade and Bianca. I mean, you could do Stark. Is it Stark and Baszler?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You could do them. I could see with that whole Sonya Deville thing going on. I mean, it would be a good way to get their momentum kicked up. Also, it's a triple threat match. They don't have to get pinned.
That's where I think that they're going to. I think they might protect them that way.
They might do that. I also think you kind of want to separate those two.
I think the main reason putting them together is probably Bianca helping helping Jade a little bit, right?
Yeah,
in the ring.
No, I definitely get that, but I don't know if you're gonna go, because I really thought they were gonna go this tactic with the Queen of the Ring, and then they did that stupid thing where like Nia like tried to hit her
that was
with
a weird
chair.
way to protect.
She hit her with a chair, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a DQ, and then Jade did the same thing, and it was a DQ. It made no sense. But yeah,
Sometimes there's that suspension of disbelief there, I suppose.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was like blatant.
So who do you think's gonna win then? Who's keeping it?
My safe bet would be Jade and Bianca.
All right, I'm gonna also go with Jade and Bianca right now, but when I pick the pool, I may mix it up and go Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler just because I think they're trying. They might have to break up Bianca and Jade for SummerSlam, but I don't know. We'll see. All right. Next up, how about Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, the best story going potentially in WWE right now?
Fair.
Tank, I know you're a big Gable guy. Who you got, Gable or Zayn?
Gable's taking it, man. This is his time. He's taking it this time.
Okay.
I mean, you signed this guy to a deal. If you signed him, you had to have said that you're getting the title.
He's never won a singles title.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's his time. I mean, there's been so many times in this run that he's on with these singles matches, and it's been his time. And I see why they did it. They wanted to turn him heel. I say, pull the trigger. Sami Zayn's fine without the title.
All right, Freddie Fresh. What about you, Zayn or Gable?
I'm going with Zayn. I just don't see Gable winning it yet.
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
I don't.
Okay. Wow. We'll mix.
Not saying he shouldn't.
Yeah. I am gonna go. I'm gonna go Zayn as well because I think Otis finally turns on Gable at Clash. So
now, I'm gonna get to that in it. So
yeah,
that is a scenario that I'm envisioning, right?
Sure.
That's when it finally happens. I thought it was about to happen on Monday,
right?
So that makes sense. The only thing with that is, I also see, which we're gonna get to, Punk costing Drew.
Sure.
So I don't know if we're gonna get two of that type of finish in one night.
The schmaz, okay.
I also think we're in an era of WWE where Triple H knows that we don't want certain outcomes, but he does them anyways, because if you think about it, his his ideology, I think, is this may not be what you want right now, but hold on, stay in your seat.
I agree with that sentiment. He has done an exceptional job doing that. That's a good way to put it. I am also, like I said, I'm going to go Zayn because I do think that Otis gets involved. But what do I know about anything? I only went perfect for the last two pay-per-views, so it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Bayley versus Piper Niven. I am going to go with Bayley because I do get Piper is she Scottish or is she Irish?
I believe so.
She's Scottish. Look, one of them got to win in Scotland, so it's either going to be her or Drew, and I can't imagine them taking the title off of one or the other because it's so early, but we'll see what happens. But I am going to go with Bayley just because whatever, that feud's whatever. Tank, what about you?
I don't know what's going on with these, I guess it's the WWE Women's Championship.
The SmackDown title. Just call it
the SmackDown title.
SmackDown title.
Ever since Mania, it just hasn't felt like a big deal.
It's been quite terrible because they booked their two biggest stars into a tag team.
Yeah,
like so two of the stars, you know what I'm saying, like in the sense of like two people who would be.
There's obviously a presence missing in that women's division, and I think that's where maybe you take the titles off them at Clash and you kind of get that back on track. But
my hope is that they get Bayley and Charlotte in some form or fashion at SummerSlam.
That would be good. I think Charlotte's probably pretty close to coming back. I would do that.
I saw her doing box jumps today, so
she's looked ready to come back since she got injured.
Yeah, Fred said that last week, and I was like, "Damn, that is so true."
I would definitely go Bayley winning this one. I just, I like Piper. I think she's great. I could see like Chelsea maybe doing something kind of costs her.
Yeah.
But then again, it goes back to the other match. We don't want that multiple times on the card, but
sure.
I don't know. I just don't see. I don't think it's Piper's time.
Sure, I agree. Freddie, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Bayley. Piper, I like Piper. I'm glad she's getting this spot, but I mean, she's obviously in this spot because it's in Scotland.
I also agree. I think that's plays into a big part of it because their story has been absolutely no story really, other than they attacked her. So
yeah, they really haven't done much with it. I think it's just a placeholder, just a match to, get the local person on the show and in a big match, and gives Bayley an opponent. Because her reign as women's champion really hasn't been anything.
She hasn't done anything yet, which could be said for a lot of the titles right now, right? We can talk about that.
You know what sucks? Because the draft happened right after, right?
Yeah.
Bayley and Io didn't get that feud should have continued after WrestleMania.
I don't see why they didn't. And
it kind of left Bayley with nothing left to do. And the other thing too that hurt it is that the Queen of the Ring took all the focus.
1,000%.
On top of, like you said, two of their biggest women's stars being attacked.
Yeah. Plus, you got the women's world champion and kind of in the main event feud with Judgment Day and everything.
Okay.
Right.
So she obviously has a presence. So it's like.
Yeah, I think there's just like a lot of, I don't know, it's just like a lot.
Once Charlotte comes back, that'll definitely help. And
I don't even think, I'm not saying that they need Charlotte. I just think that they've got the women's stuff scattered around right now, like in a weird way, which it just doesn't feel like they have direction on any of it because Rhea got hurt. And so that live thing, and now there's a lot of things going on, but it's hard to focus on a lot. The men's feuds suffer the same way, right? It's like the world tag titles have done absolutely nothing. They're not even on the card. They're the world tag team. There's not a tag team men's match at the pay-per-view.
No.
How's that? What?
But I will say though, Miz and R-Truth give me some of my favorite segments every month.
Dude, they are. That's what I'm saying. So how are they not showcased now? I think they're doing it because maybe their tag team matches aren't very good. That may be part of it. But their finisher's pretty cool, where they do the complete shot Miz thing. It's kind of cool, and their segments are hilarious. I don't understand that, but that's, again, I'm not booking, so I don't really know. All right, before we get too far, AJ versus Cody, I Quit. I thought the way they built that to an I Quit was really cool. Last week, I thought that was interesting. I did think it was a submission match, though, however, when they first announced it, and then I realized quickly it's I Quit is the Mick Foley rock thing, right, where he puts the pallet on top of him and then shoves the microphone in there and does the voiceover. So the I Quit match is whatever. I don't like Falls Count Anywhere stuff. I think it just takes away I don't really think it adds much. I thought the submission thing would have been cooler, especially because AJ has a submission. But I do get the I Quit piece of it. So I'm going Cody, obviously. But what about you, Tank?
I'm gonna go Cody. I saw this crazy idea on the internet that you have AJ Styles quit and then go do like a small run in TNA.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love that, but that's just my 2006 TNA fanboy coming out.
AJ Styles was he was the GOAT of TNA for sure.
Yeah, but
he's taken a lot of L's in feuds, by the way, too. I don't know that
and that's what I don't like. I want him to win matches. I want him to be in feuds where he's winning them.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time since he's won any feud, really.
Yeah. It's just. I always said that I wanted him to go to AEW just because he's another case of like it's like Finn Balor.
Yeah, it's like his thing.
Finn Balor, Styles. You need a guy in the main event, you could throw him there and he'll knock it out of the park.
But the problem is that's what they're doing now. They're throwing him in, he's gonna knock it out of the park. And he's not doing anything. So like that's the hard part. It's like where's that balance right now, especially with those two? I don't know. Like I think the Cody AJ thing is gonna be cool, but I don't see where they go after that. Fred, are you picking Cody as well?
Yeah, I'm picking Cody. I'm loving the feud. I love the retirement angle that they did a couple weeks ago. I really enjoyed how way Cody was freaking pissed on Friday. I thought that was really waiting for AJ to get there, and the backstage with him and Nick Aldis, all that stuff. I thought it was really good. Cody's not losing the title.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
It's going to be a great match. And I enjoy I Quit matches. It's something different.
Yeah, that's fair.
Different,
that's fair.
So
we'll see what they do. All right, obviously, last match, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. And this is where I was going to go to the whole point of, like, title runs being really weird right now with everybody that's won their title at Mania. I think the Mania was so good that it's really hard to top that, right? So everybody's like, damn, man, this run hasn't been... I'm like, what do you want the title to change hands every week? What do y'all... Like, that's some WCW shit. Like, you got to let things build, right, to a certain extent. I think we've talked a lot about that. So Drew versus Damian, though, here's my thing. I think it's the most unpredictable match, which I'm very excited about. Because I think the simplest thing is, yes, you have CM Punk come out there and ruin it. But the better thing is you have CM Punk come out there, ruin it, and Drew wins, and then he's like, oh, yeah, we're wrestling at SummerSlam. Like, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of opportunity there. Damian, you hate to take the title off him, but has really... I think Damian on the mic, this is something I've noticed. He's botched. I don't know him. Super great guy, I'm sure, but he's botched regularly talking promo each week that he's been on TV. He's botched a line. And I don't know if he's trying to remember it word for word, what's written for him or whatever, but I've noticed it multiple weeks in a row, and I'm kind of like, that's kind of strange. I just don't know. I like him much better as the Judgment Day with Mommy as opposed to the Judgment Day with just him. I think he's a great lead. I just think there's this weird, I don't know, it doesn't feel good right now. It doesn't feel organic. Because his run as Money in the Bank was awesome as El Campeon, Senor Money in the Bank, and now he's El Campeon. It's been cool. I just don't know. So I am actually picking Drew. Fred, we're going to go back to you, though, because we went around. So, Fred, back to you.
Yeah. No, I mean, the logical choice is Drew. Makes sense. Scotland finally gets it. But I don't know. I don't see it happening. I know it's crazy. I just don't see it happening. I know it's also an obvious call, but I just see CM Punk fearing. Especially that CM Punk now hasn't been around. It's kind of died a little bit the last month. I think the last appearance was like the Raw after Backlash.
Yeah, that's right.
He was there.
Yep.
And then I think it's kind of been it. So
here's
kind of gives a chance to simmer and like, oh shit. You know, so.
That's fair. All right. Tank, what about you, man? Like
Thanos, CM Punk is inevitable.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. He's going to do something.
Okay.
I kind of like the idea of him trying to screw Drew, and it works in Drew's favor. I don't think necessarily the match needs the title. I think the feud has been hot enough to where it doesn't need the title.
You're saying Punk and Drew.
Punk and Drew, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with
that. I'm also thinking that taking the title off of Priest is going to start his babyface push.
Okay, that's fair.
You want him to be at rock bottom to work his way up.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. This Saturday, Clash at the Castle. It's going down. We'll see what happens. All right, resetting that. We are going to one of my favorite topics. It is the randomizer, where I pick a random topic out of my bag of tricks, and we chop it up a little bit. In this one, I thought, because, again, Tank is our resident NXT guy, just like myself and Fred. We are avid watchers, so we kind of all know what's going on. We've seen a lot of the people. So I thought we would talk a lot about NXT tonight. And this one is, if you could be any NXT champion, who would you choose? If you could be any NXT champion, who would you choose? Tank, I'm going with you first, buddy.
So am I the actual person, or am I the holding the championship?
When they were a champion. If you could go back at any point, or even now, if you're a big trick guy, at any point, and you're an NXT champion, who would you be? Which wrestler would you have chosen?
I was a big Aleister Black guy.
Okay, he was awesome, man. He was awesome, dude. He was awesome.
His way of when he worked up to that title, and every takeover he was just in a money match. I remember he went on a run. It was like Velveteen and then Gargano.
Speaking of that, is it too early? Look, I don't know where we're at with the Velveteen thing, but I did wear an NXT shirt. I did wear my Velveteen dream. This is the first time I've put it on since he got in trouble. I was such a Velveteen guy, so sorry, I didn't mean to get off track, but that was I had to show the shirt.
I don't think he's. I think people make mistakes. As long as
if he's still a creep, then we have a problem. My question is, did he get rehabilitated? But point being, so you're going with Aleister Black. You're a big Aleister Black.
I would go with Aleister Black. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. What about you, Freddie? Any NXT champion of the past, and you could be that person.
That's hard. I'm gonna go with Finn Balor. I think Finn. I don't know. I think he was one of the best of all time. I was leaning between him and Adam Cole.
Sure.
But I'm gonna go with Finn.
Okay.
Had to go with the E guy, right?
Of course.
Couldn't let that.
I will also say, I enjoyed Bobby Roode as NXT champion too.
Okay. So underrated.
Man, he was great. I think all of those ones, because they were bringing people in, right, to build to the top, and they were doing a lot of cool stuff, man. They were really, really, really great.
I just can't believe Vince looked at Bobby Roode and said, yeah, this guy's a babyface.
Yeah, his main roster run didn't...
It was... even as the Dirty Dogs was horrible.
Dude, I like this... Back to Gable. Him and Gable were great.
See,
I forgot about that, yeah.
They weren't a tag team very long, were they?
They won the titles.
Longer than they should have been.
They did win the title. Holy shit. Well, if I'm going to go back and be an NXT champion, I am going to be... I thought of this question that I was thinking. I would either be Andrade or Adam Cole. It was between those two, and I'm going to pick Adam Cole because Undisputed Era is maybe the greatest faction not named the NWO or DX or one of those. You know what I mean? They ran roughshod over NXT. They had the 4 best wrestlers in NXT. They had the best entrance music. They had the best gimmick. They were everything, right? He wrestled Pat McAfee. They were unbelievable. So
I love the Undisputed Era.
Yeah, they were exceptional. So I would go with Adam Cole, man. I really wish Roddy Strong would have won it because I would have picked Roddy at some point. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. But yeah, definitely Adam Cole, man. What a banger. What a banger. All right, that's the randomizer. Up next, this is the really good one because I know Tank's not going to know any of these. So this is my favorite part. And you call yourself a fan. And we're back. It's And You Call Yourself a Fan. It's trivia time where I pick a card out of my box of early 90s WWF trivia, and we go through the questions. I have not read them yet. I don't know the answers, potentially. And each correct answer is worth a point. So here are the questions. At the February 1996 In Your House, Diesel's opponent was The Undertaker, Bret Hart, or the British Bulldog. Tank, you're the new guest, man. Starting with you.
You said it was British Bulldog, Bret Hart, and who?
Undertaker.
I'm gonna go Bret Hart.
Okay. Freddie?
Bret Hart.
I am also going to go Bret Hart. And we all got the point. Great job.
It was the steel cage. It's when Undertaker.
Oh, that's right. That's right. When he got pulled under, right? When he pulls him under.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was a great gimmick too. They were really heating up in 96 going into 97.
Yeah.
All right, at the 1994 SummerSlam, Owen Hart's opponent was Shawn Michaels, Adam Bomb, or Bret Hart. Freddie?
Bret Hart. Oh.
That's okay. We can all. It's Bret Hart. So
it's Bret Hart.
Yeah, they're in a steel cage. So
I was just gonna say, ironically, also in a steel cage.
Circle gets the square on that one. Everybody getting a point. At the 1989 Survivor Series, the tag team on Rick Rude's team was the Orient Express, the Rougeau Brothers, or the Brainbusters. And I'll start, and I'm going to go 89. I'm going to go with the Rougeau Brothers. Tank?
I'm going to go with the Rougeau Brothers, too.
Freddie?
I'm going to be contrary and say the Brainbusters.
All right. The answer's the Rougeau Brothers.
Yeah.
The only reason I said that is because 89 Survivor Series is the first one, right?
88. No, 87.
Oh, 87. It is 87. Okay. Because in 88, I think the Brainbusters debut in 89, and it's a tag team thing. There's like 12 men in the ring, I feel like, at one point. Either way. All right. At WrestleMania 9, at WrestleMania 11, I almost read that back.
Oh, also.
WrestleMania 11, Bret Hart faced And I'm sorry, Tank. We got to start with you because we're back around on the circle here, and there's no multiple choice.
Is it Owen Hart?
It's not Owen Hart, but that's okay. Freddie.
So I can say this, and I can say it confidently and correctly this time. Bob Backlund.
I'm also going to go Bob Backlund. And the answer is Bob Backlund. Unbelievable. Bob Backlund's made it into like every episode since that. I love that. One of my favorite
I was so excited when I call back. Except this time it was actually right.
The trivia cards are in my callback. I love that. All right. At the 1992 Survivor Series, Tatanka's opponent was... Fred, we start with you.
Oof.
No multiple choice.
Yeah, this is 1992 Survivor Series. Fuck. I honestly have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know why I want to say this, but I'm gonna say Big Boss Man. I don't know.
I'm gonna say Rick Martel. Tank.
Also fair choice.
Brutus Beefcake.
Okay, I love that. The answer is the model, Rick Martel.
Yeah. Now, did you know that, or was that a good guess?
I knew that. So Tatanka debuted that year. I don't know if that was like his first major match, but I remember him wrestling the model, and I also remember him wrestling Skinner at some point. And so I was like, in my mind, I was like, it's either Skinner or Rick
The only
Martel.
Tatanka match that I like remember is him and Shawn Michaels at 9.
Oh, at 9. Yeah, that's fair. I remember his terrible run as tag team champion. With Bam Bam Bigelow too, when they were in the
right.
They were in the Money Incorporated. But anyways, PJ gets the point there. Let's rip. I love that. Trivia time, man. Always a good time. Always a good time. All right. Last segment. Another great one. One thing I love. It is one has to go. And that means 4 of the best scenarios, 4 of the best wrestlers, 4 of the best gimmicks, 4 of the best times in wrestling. And one of them ceases to exist. And we stay on the NXT line with the best champions in NXT history. There were a lot to choose from in the black and gold era, but I narrowed it down to these 4, and one has to go. Finn Balor in the top left. Top right is Shinsuke Nakamura in the top right. Bottom left is Samoa Joe. In the bottom right, Adam Cole. One has to go. NXT champions. And Tank, again, you are our guest of honor today, our first back, so you get to go first. Who are you getting rid of? One of them has to go.
This is a little rough.
I like to
all
make
4
them
of them. I thought that they were all 4 great, but I think I'd have to go. Shinsuke has to go.
Okay. I just don't know how you could get rid of that entrance music, but whatever. Why would you get rid of Shin compared to the others?
I just think Adam Cole's run, like you said, they had the whole group.
Yeah.
It was just what a time to be.
What a time, dude! NXT was absolutely on fire.
I think Balor was when NXT really started to boom. I think that was
they started bringing in people at that time.
Yeah, that's when they started getting their the wheels turning and everything.
Sure.
And I thought Joe was the perfect person to take it off of Balor. At the time, I just didn't. There wasn't really, someone like with that presence that Joe brought, and I just thought,
that's fair.
They were in a time where they were making stars left and right in NXT.
They really were. They couldn't miss because they were picking the best of the indie guys who came from other companies. They were in all honesty, they were AEW before AEW was AEW, right? In reality, they were doing the things that AEW then branched out to do. Granted, they had a little bit of different storytelling. It was still sports entertainment in certain aspects, but Triple H had the best wrestling. I mean, they were crushing New Japan, and I was watching New Japan at that time. Outside of like Kenny Omega and Okada and those guys, like NXT was killing everybody by a long shot. That's a good one though, man. All right. So you're getting rid of Shin. What about you, Freddie?
This is another hard one.
Again, man, I like to challenge. You know what's so funny is I'm coming up with these ideas. I'm writing. I got a list of ideas of one has to go, and they're getting better each week. I'm thinking of them. I love it.
So, not because I don't like him, because he was, like I said before, He was one of my favorite ones, but he's the only guy on this list that decided to leave WWE, so fuck him. Adam Cole's got to go. Sorry.
Wow.
He's one of my favorite NXT champions.
Holy hell.
He fucked up in 2021, so.
Wow, that is okay.
They were going to shave his head.
That's exactly. They were going to make him a fucking manager, and this guy was. Freddie's
I
like,
don't know how
nah.
much truth there is to that.
Well, of course, there's no truth to it because it was written by a bunch of dirt sheet cucks,
Here we
like
go.
Sean Ross Sapp and the rest of those jokes on the internet. I love it. All right, fair enough. Well, I am going to get rid of. Actually, I'm going to get rid of Samoa Joe. Only thing is, Samoa Joe's a killer, right? I just thought. I love those other three guys as champs, man. Finn Balor's run, man, with the jacket. His entrance was undeniable. Shinsuke's music was undeniable. Adam Cole's was undeniable. Samoa Joe did have great music, right? Dun, 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 dun. Right, unbelievable. But in the end, outside of those three, Shinsuke is one of I'm a big Shinsuke fan, so I kept those. But, yeah, Samoa Joe. I'm going to get rid of Samoa Joe. One has to go. All right, well, we've managed to make it to the end. An unbelievable. See, this is how you book a guy who's never been in the territory. You want to book him on top. This is how you make it happen. Our winner and world champ today, BigTankk, Mike Tancredi.
Right.
Tank, man, you get 60 seconds to give your spiel. Now's the time to go heel. Are you ready?
Well, you know what it is. Dynamite all the way. I'm taking over. I'll be back next week to keep this title around a real wrestler. You hear me?
I don't know. Wow. Unbelievable. A real wrestler. We're the real wrestlers wrestle.
We're the best wrestle.
We're the best wrestlers. I'm already butchering Mario's Mario's pitch this morning, which I did think was maybe the best thing in the chat today, where he's like, I get why Miguel wants to spew all that WWE propaganda with the catchphrase.
Yep.
That's good stuff. Well, man, I do appreciate both of you guys for joining as well, man. This has been a lot of fun talking all things NXT this week. I'm a big NXT guy, so I enjoyed it, and we look forward to catching up with everybody. Again, shout out to the Ticket God, Freddie Briscoe. Shout out to our world champ, BigTankk. And I am your host, PJ North. Until next time, when we go around the mat.